Hey, trading friends. Basically, some things I'm seeing this morning. The bonds, 10-year treasuries, are topping the bill here at 5:05 a.m. Over three times the volume of the SPY. So, what's that telling us? Basically, anytime you start seeing bonds really interested there, we're seeing some major indecision going on in the bond market. So basically, what I'm seeing here, we are moving out of this fib fan zone as of this moment. And I'm actually expecting a breakdown in the bonds possibly today, even today. Now, we actually have a lower low situation. So this is a bear trend that we had set up in the bonds with a lower high versus here. So our trend has turned more bearish, and we're finally breaking out of this fib fan. It seems to be happening this morning. So it looks like to me that now since China is back to work, they're intentionally manipulating the information coming out of the country, where now all of a sudden fewer cases are being reported of the virus, and that should be, if anybody really thinks about it, that this is a dictatorship, a totalitarian government, and they don't want people scared to go back to work, so they want things to seem like they're more improved, and whether they are or not. And one of the doctors that was on the Zika virus, they had a report out yesterday that they're talking about a 24-day incubation period on this virus. So yeah, there's not many viruses like that. So like all these people on that ship over there, they're stranded on that ship. After the last case is reported and that person's better, you're still supposed to wait. You should be waiting almost a month after that before you release the passengers. Do we all think that's going to happen? No, we don't. So uh, there's going to be a lot of news coming out over the wires. Yeah, they might be addressing it the best they can, and things might get better over time. But um, they're trying their best to make things sound better than what they really are to bolster up the economy and get people back to work. So just keep that in mind going forward here. And but the bonds having a potential sell signal here, that would be supportive of bullish markets going forward into today's session, in my opinion. Um, the major indices are all up. Hell, you even have your Dow's up 105 points right now. The Dow futures are up 105 points. So basically, all that afternoon sell off yesterday was just some profit taking. And you ask, well, why would they be selling that off? And well, basically, you know, we have a contracted range on the S&Ps this week on our expected market maker moves. For some reason, after we blew out 4 weeks in a row the expected move, the option holders decided to contract the expected move for this week, which to me that's mind-boggling that they would do something like that. So while that's loading real quick, let me show you here what's going on in yesterday's session, if you don't mind. This is the status. We had repo operations happening throughout the day yesterday, so keep that in mind. Mr. Fed is backstopping the markets. We had one purchase right here as another $12 billion injected to treasuries, and then we even had some additional mortgage-backed securities injected. So it gave a total liquidity of another $37 billion on that one. That was yesterday morning at 8:45 a.m. Haven't really seen anything yet today. 8:15 a.m. we had an injection of 30, basically 30 billion in treasuries. So yeah, they're doing what they can to keep this ball going. So just keep that in mind going forward here. And those were Monday's operations. So just keep that in mind going forward. We still have a lot of repo operations happening here that's backstopping any dips in these markets. And boy, anybody who went net short last night, they're going to get their bell rung this morning, it seems like. So just keep that in mind. I can't really find any type of major headline news to justify the up move in the markets. Even the earnings weren't anything to write home about in the overnight session. So basically, I just think the Federal Reserve is just backstopping the markets is enough to keep things going here. Okay, so just keep that in mind going forward. Oh, it looks like darn Toss is running super slow today. That sucks. Oh, there, finally. Okay. Basically, we've got. Where's my other line at there? Well, yeah, there's the line right down there. There it is. Basically, over the weekend video, I thought we were going to be breaking down here. You know, that was my bias. I wasn't even really looking to the upside. Well, guess what? We were doing the opposite of what I expected. So basically, we tagged yesterday afternoon. We tagged the expected market maker move on the S&Ps, and just relatively in very short order found some strong responsive selling in yesterday afternoon session. Here we are already again, right up here, virtually tagging that expected move again. So right up here to the highs. So pretty good chance we're going to be breaking out for the 5th week in a row on the S&Ps, the expected move for this week. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here. And now since we have a contracted range, hell, this thing could really take off to the moon. Who knows? But as long as the Fed keeps backstopping everything, I don't think that there's a lot of over risk here. And it looks like the NQs are outperforming here. See here if I can get these things lined up right. Yeah, the NQs are one of the ones really outperforming here. The markets this morning. That's the Nikkei 25 ES. There's NQs. There it is, right at the top of the list. So seems to be that almost a 0.5% gain in the Nasdaq. So tech continues to drive the markets to the upside here. So just keep that in mind. Let me try to put this on pause. Hopefully it won't crash on me. And while this stupid Toss decides to load, it's been running like this all morning long. So I'm already decided I'm not going to be doing much trading if my platform is not working very well. Well, while that thing's loading, let's go through these real quick. And let's see here. Okay, I have a scan on the NASDAQ 100. And so far this morning, Micron's very active. Remember tonight, or is it? I think it's tonight. Either tonight or tomorrow night. NVIDIA reports. And a lot of upside optimism in NVIDIA going forward. So, with all the problems in China and stuff, I'd be very concerned about any type of guidance in the semiconductor sector, considering its strong exposure to the Chinese markets. So, just keep that in mind going forward here in your trading for this thing. Microsoft saw a strong sell-off in yesterday's close. Major reversal candle on the daily, and potential reversal candle. One thing about Microsoft, since I'm having so much Toss platforms, it blew right through my resistance from last week, and like it was just it was nothing in the wind. And there was another one right above, right above where we stopped yesterday, and we didn't even tag it. So I'm really thinking that we just had some weak hands in Microsoft. They just took a little bit of profits off the top, and actually the top is Microsoft is probably going to $200 possibly this week. So just keep that in mind going forward. I don't think the top's in yet for Microsoft, despite the price action we saw yesterday. Okay, AMD, another thing. JD's really breaking it in there. China, because they do home delivery, groceries and everything. And this is one that's really going to do well here come when the earnings do finally come in. But they got so much time for the next quarter for all that stuff to be factored in that there could be a lot of turmoil in that stock. You don't want to just up and buy and hold here and hope that all that everybody staying at home is really great for their business. because yeah, you just never know. Continued bid here in Tesla. So um, Tesla just seems to um, they just don't want to seem to give up on it. Implied volatilities are so high with Tesla, I just cannot justify. The moves don't seem justifiable for the high premiums you're paying, in my opinion. But there's a lot of other stuff out there, and than other than Tesla that you can trade, in my opinion. Got a nice little bit in Apple for a change. That's good. Better news out of China means um, uh, it's supportive of Apple. So it came down to the 20 SMA, and it seems to be holding out above there. I still say that if the markets were to catch a sell, that Apple would be breaking its 20 SMA because its price action is just way too close to the 20 SMA daily for it to not break here in the next week or two. So that's just something that I'm looking for here. Facebook had a really bad downgrade yesterday. Looks like a little bit of a pop this morning. And they're continuing to sell a little bit on the Gilead. China came out yesterday saying they're going to get a lot of their drugs for the virus out of Cuba. So that's not a supportive of the pop in Gilead going forward, in my opinion. And then Nvidia's got the earnings. Amazon's continues to the upside. We're on the trek for 2,400, in my opinion. So the gains today are about half the size of the gains this time yesterday. So just keep that in the back of your mind going forward here. Cisco's got earnings too. So you know, some of the, and Applied Materials has got earnings coming out. So yeah, it just gives you some ideas of some things. Oh, Cisco's got earnings too. So so that's just some of the things on the Nasdaq. Now the S&P 500 here, you got your AMD, Apple, Gilead, Facebook. CVS, I noticed yesterday was catching some interest. I wish I could pull up the charts, but the way Amazon's going, I don't even think I should mess with it. And Boeing, they came out, and the big hype yesterday, the FAA was going to come out and try to possibly recertify test flights in a month. Well, that all that information, they basically came out and said that it'd be a couple months after recertification before they begin flights again. So that's right out of the company. So yeah, it's a long time away. It'll probably be late summer, early fall before the MAX is recertified and gets back in the air. Best case scenario, in my opinion. So it's holding out here because of the basic earnings came out. What's holding this price up? The interest rates are so low right now. Boeing's issuing a lot of debt to buy back their own shares at these prices, and that's what happened on the earnings call, and that's what's keeping these prices elevated. So you know, in the midst of a major crisis in the company, the new CEO is initiating all kinds of new debt to bolster up the share prices. With the interest rates low like this, can you blame the guy? But it just there's optics about what you're doing too. It doesn't seem very good to optically to be doing stuff like that, in my opinion. So, boy, it looks like Google's catching a nice little bid too. I saw it at over 520, 1520 yesterday. So, see, CVS must be reporting today. That must be what's going on here. So just keep that in mind going forward here. But by far, semiconductors very active here, driving force for the markets. And to me, that's the most risky area to be in with exposure to China. So that's what's mind-numbing to me. And we all know what AMD did. I mean, their numbers were pathetic, but yet the buyers just keep coming in, despite the fact that their earnings pretty well sucked. So just remember that. Let's see if my thing came up on NQs. There we go. Finally came up. Thank goodness. Okay, and yeah, we're right here, putting out right up near the weekly highs on the NQs, above last week's value, building out nicely here to the upside on our NQs. And We do have a bid in crude this morning too. Keep that in mind going forward here. Less bad news out of China. They are trying to put in, we're over $50 a share. They're trying to put in a secure bottom in crude at these levels. So, and we may have seen a low in the crude, to be honest. So, and just keep that in mind going forward here. And ETF watch list. Oh, nah, let's just go my scanner. My lists are getting messed up here. On my ETF watch, SPY is the top active ETF so far this morning with Qs behind it. So despite the bigger move in the Q, we're still getting better volume out of SPY, which so it's a normalized market this morning. And UVXY is getting slaughtered this morning, so that's a sign. Whenever you start seeing this popping up on your ETF scanner, that they're starting to get nervous. The shorts are really starting to get nervous here whenever you start seeing that happening in the early hour sessions. And XOP, this looks like see the pop in XOP there. So the most beat up area of the market does seem to have a bid today, and with TLT up here as one of the top ETF bonds, that's 10-year bonds. It's really active here too. So they seem to be they're looking to short squeeze the energy today. So if I were looking at anything in the markets this morning, and with the breakdown in the bonds, that there's probably going to be rotation back into the energy sector. So stocks like PXD, that was one that came up on my scanner, are probably going to see a nice responsive bids today. Pioneer Natural Resources. So just keep that in mind going forward here. See how big of a disaster move we've had in this sector. So if we are seeing a breakdown in the bearish trend and rotation back out of the defensive sector into equities, which we're not, the consumer staples is not showing that yet. This is actually a potential continuation pattern as of yesterday's close. And, well, looks like toss decided. And there's a potential continuation pattern in our utilities. So we're getting a mixed bag versus yesterday's close. We don't have the opening prints yet. But the main tail is the bonds, okay? So if I were to say anything in these markets, I think we're about to squeeze to the upside today and break above the expected market maker moves. So just keep that in mind going forward here. I think the crude and potentially the Russell will be leading the way to the upside today. So just keep that in mind, that the Russell is probably coming back up to these highs last Thursday. That's something what I'm looking at here, that we are coming back up into here today on the Russell. So that's all I got to say, and I will see you guys in the chat room. And like the video if you like it. Please make comments below of any ideas, any comments about the video. I'm here to learn just like everybody else. We're all here to make some money. It's not trying to throw each other under the boat here. It's about building each other up. Okay, and so I've been doing really well with shorter duration trades. I love this type of market. I don't have to take on a lot of risk. I can get in, get out, and sleep well at night. And I love markets like this. So I don't know how all you guys are trading, but that's what I'm doing right now. Just taking a lot of short duration trades, and they're working out really good. So just please, like I said, leave some comments and stuff. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.